What's up, beautiful people? Another day, another study. We've talked a lot about air pollution. It's something that I am concerned about as an environmental toxin. Also, the current administration has repealed some of the protections or goals for lowering PM 2.5 in the United States. And we've previously talked about how PM 2.5 levels are associated with cardiovascular disease, associated with dementia. And this study is talking about depression. So we have previous studies associating PM 2.5 with depression. However, this study went a little bit further, wanted to look at the different types of these fine particulate matter and their association with depression in a cohort of US older adults. This is mainly the Medicare population. So among the participants, the mean 5-year exposure level was 10 micrograms per cubic meter, and that's well above the 5 micrograms per cubic meter recommended from the WHO. That was recently lowered from 10 because of evidence showing that levels of PM 2.5 are more dangerous at lower levels than we previously thought. So per IQR, the components associated with depression were sulfate, 5%, elemental carbon, 3%, soil dust, 3%, overall PM 2.5 mass at 2%, and ammonium at 1%. When they looked at it as a mixture, the 6 components that they looked at were associated with a 7% increased risk of depression per 1 quartile increase. And then in the dose response analysis, there was a near linear increase in depression risk and the 6 PM 2.5 components, even at low levels. What was interesting, though, was in subgroup analysis, those with existing comorbidities like hypertension, dementia, lung disease, stroke, heart failure had a higher risk, while those who did not have comorbidities had no excess risk of depression. And then also women were at higher risk than men. Now, the individual risks in the study are small, but when you look at this from the population level, this is something that is important because for the individual, it might be small. At the population level, that means there are a lot of cases that could be prevented if the association is causal. And then we do have some probable mechanisms for a causal relationship. Mechanisms include mitochondrial dysfunction, oxidative stress, systemic inflammation. So it's concerning that all of these studies are showing these links between PM 2.5 and adverse health outcomes. And we're taking the wrong direction as far as reducing our exposure to this fine particulate matter here in the US. One of the things I do for my patients is look up their mean air levels every year. And if it's above 5, I recommend getting air filtration units placed in the house or work or wherever you spend the most time in order to reduce your risk, especially if you already have some of these comorbid conditions.